Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Turtle Wars Season 3. We are back at it again. Finishing off round 4 here. We got quite the main event, quite the grudge match. Generic taking on Spacecraft. Spacecraft obviously won when the two met last season in the Heat final, but it makes sense why there's a bit of a grudge. Generic had the match on lock. Spacecraft was getting counted out. It was lying on its back upside down, dead in the water. And then Generic righted it, and that ended their season. It booked Spacecraft a ticket into the top 6 and knocked Generic out in the heats. Obvious revenge story there. But how about another very interesting match? Two champions of the series, the 15th and final pre-series champion, pre-series 15 champion, Extra Peppermint. 1-1 at the moment. They won an incredibly close judge's decision over UFO 5. Lost their second match to Calamity 5 very quickly. Plank, in the meantime, dominant win over Plank, decimated by Revenge of Armageddon in what was pretty shocking to see. So it's going to be fun to watch two very high caliber machines go at it. Next up, Mosquito, sitting at 2-0, takes on the 0-2 Iron Off 4. Custom machines have been having a bit of a hard time. Let's see if Iron Off 4 can start a bit of a bounce back, not end their season winless. In the meantime, Mosquito, a win here, might be able to push them into the lower end of the top 32 bracket. So Choku undefeated, a bit of durability issues in their match against Tsunami, but they did manage to get out of that one alive. They're taking on Conundrum Evo here. 1-1. They lost to the biggest cheese. Both these machines have beaten Tsunami. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here. That whole, rivalry of vertical versus horizontal. You've got a very low machine focused on ground clearance versus a machine very focused on the weapon. It's going to be a fun one. Then, two 0-2 custom machines. This is a serious bot. Takes on Suffocate. Suffocate has had a bit of trouble to use its wedge effectively. Their opponent here has no wedge. This is a serious bot. A little bit unlucky in its matches. A draw against Storm 2, a bot like Storm 2, who is just so low to the ground, especially this year. And then getting gutted by Hulkbuster after actually looking very impressive. Both of these machines are probably not going to make the bracket. A low tier machine going 2-2 is probably not going to be enough, quite frankly. But they're both powerful machines. They're both high quality machines. And it'll be a fun match to see, at the very least. Next up, Badlands 0-2. Lego Vertical Spinner takes on the Lego Drum Spinner of Hydro, who sits at 2-0. Now, Hydro's been a bit of a surprise so far. They were always pretty solid in Chinese competitions, but heading over to the States for the big competition, right? They've looked very impressive, and it's nice to see. Badlands, in the meantime, have been a bit underwhelming, and it'll be interesting to see if they can bounce it back here. Blue Machine, a bit of a surprise machine to see at 2-0, and they've got the potential to go to 3-0 here. First match they won outplaying Shuriken tactically. Second match they won by using their much more heavy horizontal weapon, and it ripped a wheel off of Jackhammer. It did break off, so there are some questions about durability, but this draw here, Blade Runner, it's certainly doable to see Blue Machine hit 3-0 and potentially qualify for the bracket tonight. Without further ado, though, let's head to the arena for our first battle of the night, Plank versus Extra. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 12 of Turtle Wars' third season. We are approaching the final round. After this episode, and the 4 highlight fights, we will have every machine on their finished third round record, whether that's 3-0, 0-3, or anything in between. It will be there, and every machine will be looking towards the fourth and final round, the round where the high-tier bots take on the low-tier bots. The low-tier bots look to prove themselves against machines considered better than them, and the high-tier bots look to not get embarrassed. But we open this one up with Plank, 1-1 after getting destroyed by Revenge of Armageddon. The reigning champions, not an undefeated season. Crazy to think about that one, huh? They take on Extra Peppermint, who had a very, very close win over UFO 5 before getting chucked out the arena by Calamity 5. They are now facing a machine that does not have a 5 in their name. Their last match is against Vertigo, while Plank's is against Goofy Bot, so one of these bots is having arguably an easier fight. Who's going to take it, the reigning champs or the former champs? 3, 2, 1, activate. So Bullseye was not around last episode, because when it flipped distraught, it broke, and I did not have tape to repair it in time, but I did for this episode, so we will be seeing Bullseye. That was almost an Uta. That was almost Plank going 1 and 2. That was almost a huge disappointment. And UFO 5, sorry, Extra Peppermint not giving up ground here. Not giving up ground. They want it. They want it so bad. So close from Extra Peppermint. It's actually insane. Huge flip out of Plank. Extra Peppermint's right back on top of him, though. There have been talks about Extra Peppermint really not being that amazing nowadays, not being as good as it was back in the later seasons of the pre-series. They're here to prove us wrong, us doubters. Huge shot from Minnow. This is Extra Peppermint at its best we've seen since it won the final pre-series. A huge flip there. That didn't seem like a lift. That one seemed like a real flip, and it is Plank here, struggling. One of the forks bent out of position as well, and taking full advantage of that is Extra Peppermint. Almost down the pit is Plank, and Extra Peppermint. They're on the verge of a monumental upset here over Plank. Plank would fall to a losing record, and the best they could get is one going even. This win would guarantee Extra Peppermint playoffs. Surely, a 2-1 record with a win over Plank is far better than most bots could say they have, but he still has to win. Plank, ever deadly. That weapon was powerful before the forks. It will stay powerful even with one bent, and Extra Peppermint lifting them up against the wall, looking to pin them, and Plank gets down. They've got to self-right, though, and they are struggling with that, but they do get back up. How much time left in this match? It's less than a minute. And Plank firing the weapon, self-righting again. Those forks, they are still too low to the ground, but Extra Peppermint's driving has been spectacular. They've made it so that the forks don't matter, because Extra Peppermint is always at the side, and a huge shot takes a chunk out of Plank's Lego pizza. Oh my goodness. What on earth? Minnow, what a shot! Years of wear and tear and fights will do that, I suppose. Plank now in a real danger. Huge flip towards the pit. Extra Peppermint now. They've got to keep themselves up, but they don't cease. Plank still the victor. Still the champions. A terrifying scare, and almost went to the judges, actually. Only a couple seconds left in the fight. That's gotta hurt if you're Extra Peppermint, but Plank, they do take the win. They do go 2-1. In spite of a terrifying fight put up by Extra Peppermint. Good for them. That was the first match of the night. What a fight to open with. We thought it would just be a steamroll, and it would just be simple and easy for Plank, but it was not. Extra Peppermint. What a fight from them. So close, yet so far. 1-2. Extra Peppermint, their last match against Vertigo, certainly losable, but even if they do lose it, this performance might be enough to sneak into the top 32 on its own. Plank, in the meantime, probably guaranteeing playoffs, but it's certainly looking beatable after its last 2 matches. Time to move on, though. The second fight of the night. Well, after that absolutely fantastic match, we are back with 2 low-tier machines on the opposite end of the spectrum. Ha! English is hard. You know it's not hard though. Mosquito's schedule so far. Dual Welded and Blade Runner, 2 0-2 machines. Although Dual Welded did pull off a win, so I guess he's 1-2 now. They're taking on Iron Off 4. Same team as Demonic, who last episode we saw go to 3-0. They currently sit 0-2. Disappointing losses to Synthetic and Vertigo. Looking to bounce back here. 3, 2, 1. Activate. Iron Off 4. Big flip. There we go. The veterans that are Mosquito here. The favorites, but Iron Off 4. Big flipper. Safe. Nice and easy. Iron Off 4, they get their first win. It might be too little too late though, but it also might doom Mosquito to miss out on our top 32. We'll see. Well, I don't know if any match tonight is going to live up to that opening one of Plank versus Extra Peppermint, but if one might, it might be this one. Conundrum Evo and Sochoku. Conundrum Evo has been a very pleasant surprise. They've performed far better than I expected, to be honest. In the qualifiers, they really seemed to struggle with the new arena, and they managed to bounce back. Credit to them. Big win over Tsunami and Uta somehow. Disappointing loss against the biggest cheese, but they continue to show that potential. Now they take on Soichoku, who sits at 2-0, also beat Tsunami, and quality control in the opening match. Both these spots are looking pretty good. Soichoku in the running for a top seed, of course, much like Derpy 18.0, Red Hand, and Revenge of Armageddon. But a loss here would probably knock him out of that debate. I'm not going to rule out a loss here, though. Conundrum and Evo have looked very solid. 3, 2, 1. Activate, and here we go. Big shot from Conundrum Evo to open up this match. Soichoku, though, not going to let it get to them. Oh, maybe they'll have to, though. Some real airtime from Conundrum Evo in that exchange. Hitting hard. Oh, that's the Shrimek! You better hope you don't get flipped over. And the weapon of Soichoku as well. Not really going too well. There it is. Big attack, big shots from that weapon. It is working. Soichoku, though, in bullseye CPZ. No Shrimek on it. It does survive, though. Oh, the weapon does it. Huge shot from Conundrum Evo. And we might be in for an upset. It is big for Soichoku so far. Conundrum Evo, a lot of damage so far. It's not the most stable bot, but it is hitting hard. And Soichoku, that's a whole side, ripped off. In so much peril now, Soichoku, for their first loss, and that's more bits, more baubles, cease! What on earth? That is the bot ripped in 3. The weapon, the half of the bot, and the other half is lying out of the arena. Conundrum Evo, what a victory, what a statement. They go to 2-1, and they make Soichoku 2-1. They are looking at the top 32 as a guarantee now. I promise you. Soichoku embarrassed in that match, and Conundrum Evo, could this bot be a real threat? That is his second Uta. He is a full body spinner, and he has 2 Utas. I give up. How has he done this? Why are the walls so low? Whatever. Time to move on. What an upset, though. What a fight. Could it rival the Extra Peppermint Plank one? I think that one was a better, more even fight. But this one has that surprise factor, certainly. Plus, the upset actually happened in this one. What a match. Well, after some spectacular fights so far, we have 2 0-2 low-tier machines. Both custom bots, Team Joe bots. This is a serious bot. Currently, the team is 0-5. because Goofy Bot, their other machine that qualified, has gone 0-3. They are looking for their first win. They got gutted by Hulkbuster and then faced somebody else who they also lost to. Storm 2, who they were unable to really hit, and I think they actually got thrown out the arena by one of the impacts. They take on Suffocate, who was unable to get under either of their opponents so far to use their weapon, and considering in their qualifying battle the weapon broke pretty much instantly, we still don't know what the potential of it is. So, maybe we'll find out this match, because they're facing an opponent without a wedge. 3, 2, 1, activate these two bots, their seasons likely done. Cease! Oh, okay! Well, that is the Team Havoc machine out the arena in 4 seconds. What an impact! This is a serious bot looking real serious in this one. I'm not going to say that this is a serious bot season's done. They've had some tough draws. This was their easiest fight, record-wise, right? Hulkbuster, 2-1. Storm 2, 2-0 at the moment, right? Those are tough bots to beat. And they put up decent fights against both. And that was a statement victory. If they can pull off the win in their last fights, it'll be tough, but if they can, they might be able to sneak in. Suffocate, though, their season's done. Team Havoc have a record of 1-5 now this season, the same as Team Jobots, actually, from the Vatican. They currently sit at 1-5 as well, across their 2 machines. Unfortunate for Suffocate, they really weren't able to show off their weapon in this match, and I forget who they face in round 4, but they might not have that opportunity in that one either. Big win for This Is a Serious Bot, though. Could potentially sneak in. They'll be a low seed, but who knows. On to the next fight. Here we are. The last 2 high-tier matches have been absolutely spectacular. It's ironic because the low-tier ones have been over real quickly, but the high-tier ones have been really, really good fights. This one sees a 2-0 high-tier machine in Hydro taking on an 0-2 high-tier machine in Badlands. Hydro took out Spacecraft in their opening match before dominating Apollo to go 2-0. Now they take on Badlands, who unfortunately fell to Wavelength in their opening match before getting obliterated by Quality Control. They're looking for redemption. Will they get it? 3, 2, 1, activate. And here they go. Locking horns here. Either machine lower than the other, or maybe one is. Hydro getting underneath. But Badlands getting to the side, that could be damaging. Oh, they take the weapon off of Hydro already nice and quick, but Hydro only really needs that if he gets flipped over, which could happen here. Getting to the side, Badlands trying to lift up his opponent. Instead, he chucks himself across the arena and gets slammed into the wall, onto his head. Into the wall again. Into a corner patrol zone. Badlands getting chased. Attacking. Bullseye. That's not what you want to do. One of the forks, though, taken off of Hydro. And he's been knocked up onto his side. That's why he needs the weapon. Because it stops that from happening. And it's getting dug into. I think the other fork on Hydro has gone off. And the bot surely done for. Dead. Badlands, they get their first win of the season and fall onto their head immediately. Nice. So, do self-rights. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cease. Bullseye going after. Badlands chucks him out as well. Mad that he got attacked. Hydro falling to 2-1. Badlands saving their season, maybe going to 1-2. They could still qualify. A big win from them. Let's see, though. Will it be enough for them to make the top 32? There is still one more round. 2 and 2, I'd say it's definitely doable. Even 1 and 3, who knows? But we'll have to wait to find out then. Here we are, the penultimate fight of the night, right before our main event, Generic and Spacecraft meeting in a grudge match. But before that, we have two low-tier machines. The 0-2 Blade Runner, losses to Mosquito and New Blood, versus the 2-0 Blue Machine, with, I think, no, only one untelevised match. They completely out-strategized Shuriken in their opening match before getting a destructive victory over Jackhammer, ripping an entire wheel off. This is the first time Blue Machine will be fighting televised with the heavy weapon. This is the one that did the damage that killed Jackhammer. They saw what New Blood was able to do to Blade Runner, and they think that they might be able to do the same. Let's see if that's true. 3, 2, 1, activate. You gotta feel kind of bad for Blade Runner. They're facing a 2-0 machine. Your other two opponents were 2-0 heading into this round. Both of those opponents just got their first losses rather recently. Blue Machine trying to get the weapon up. There it is, up to speed. That top hinge lifter, flipper, sorry. Oh, it took the weapon off! What? No, the weapon did come off against Jackhammer as well, but that is something new. And Blade Runner, what a way to get the first victory of the season. Blue Machine, a disappointing loss. A win here could have guaranteed them a playoff spot, but fair credit to Blade Runner. They did not give up that advantage at all. A couple seconds after, and there's the KO flip. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cease. Right on the wheel. Doesn't do anything because the house robots are useless as always, but that is a huge win if you are Blade Runner. 1 and 2 though, strength of schedule definitely speaks in your favor, but it's probably not going to be enough. Who knows though, there could be a world where it works out. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our main event. Why is this a main event? Well, for those of you who went through and watched the Turtle Wars Season 2 playlist, you'll know that these two met in their heat final. Generic, the odds-on favorite by far. They were decimating everyone in their heat. What could Spacecraft do? They couldn't even self-right. How were they going to win versus this monster? And it looked like it was going to be over really quickly. Spacecraft got flipped over, and that's all she wrote, right? But it wasn't. Spacecraft, overconfident, and it led to their downfall. They righted Spacecraft and lost the fight. Lost a chance at the title before even making it past the heats. I believe it was also the end of Generic's semi-final / post-heat streak, but, you know, it is what it is. Both these bots come into this fight 1-1. Generic decimated Heatwave in their opening match, but got dominated by UFO 5 in a surprise upset in their last match. Meanwhile, Spacecraft took on Hydro in their opening match, got flipped, and that was it because they didn't have their Shrimech attached and sent it into flail. In their next match, I forget who they took on, actually. Off the top of my head. But they went in with the Shrimech. It broke off pretty quickly. Now they stand here with that Shrimech attached yet again. We'll see if it's the right move. But let's get into it. 3, 2, 1, activate. Generic really only have themselves to blame for their loss to Spacecraft last season. Trying to wedge under Spacecraft, but Spacecraft being very, very passive, and now getting under with a shove into the quarter patrol zone. It was a shock when Generic got absolutely manhandled by UFO 5. It would be a big shock if Spacecraft was able to pull this off. Ooh, that one actually sounded like it hurt. Something being done by the weapon of one of our house robots. That's insanity. But Generic does get back up, does get into play, and the Shremek arm flies into the ether. No self-righting for you, Spacecraft. But the pit does open. You've got to say that favors Spacecraft in this match. And the push. Oh, they're trying. They're trying. They don't want to let Spacecraft go. Sorry, let Generic go. Spacecraft staying under, trying to turn Generic. They're getting him towards the pit, but they drop him. Oh, no. And it could be done. Generic, not again. Not again. And no, they have stopped. That could have been scary. They could have repeated the past. But no. This time, they're going to be satisfied with the KO win. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cease. And Generic claim revenge. They almost let their past demons hurt their chances yet again, but no. 2-1 now. Fighting for a high seed with this victory. Absolutely fantastic win for them. But it was a bit scary at a couple of points, almost down the pit. 2-1 though. Top 32, pretty much guaranteed now. Just a battle for seeding. In the meantime, Spacecraft at 1-2. This was not the worst loss, but mix it with the one to Hydro and it gets a bit more questionable. Who knows? Spacecraft still certainly in danger. They need to win that fourth and final fight. But that's it for round 3, aside from the highlighted fights. With that, I'll see you all next time for the start of round 4.